I was not happy at Lee, and that is what this video is about, my transfer story. The day I felt like I did not want to go to Lee is the day that I left for college. The night before and the day of. The day I left for college, I literally felt as if my heart was breaking. Like, I was like, this is the worst mistake I've ever made. I shouldn't have done this. Like, oh my God, what did I do? So the day I was driving up, I literally was on the phone with Morgan most of the time. My sister was in the car with me and she didn't really know like how to handle that I was like bawling my eyes out. Like literally the whole way. Like if a song came on that reminded me of Morgan, I would just cry. God, I'm getting emotional. Because I've never had a best friend that stayed. Oh my God, look how emotional I got. But I've never had like a best friend that like stayed, and Morgan became that for me. And he was the person I practically sold my soul to the dude. I mean, like, he knows everything. Every single thing about me. Bye.
Bye.
For 4 days. Anyway, so I got to Lee and it was like I missed my family. Well, they moved me in and then my mom and sister left, and that felt like my heart broke because Ava does not cry, and she may try to tell you she didn't, but that girl cried that day. Straight up bawled. And my mom cried too. Why am I getting emotional? Morgan couldn't come move me in because I think he moved in. Like, I think I moved in on a Friday and he moved in the next day or like 2 days after. I don't know, something like that. Because I thought it would because he probably would have been able to if our move-in dates weren't so close together. But he went to the University of South Alabama. At Lee, the first like 2 weeks, they had events for us to do every single day. Like, we were to like meet people and all this stuff, and my cousins were all there and we were all hanging out all the time. Hi. So in the first 2 weeks, like, I went to all the events and I tried to make friends there other than the people that I already knew. Olivia is the oldest first cousin. She had already been at Lee a year. And then Garrett's the second oldest cousin, or like my age cousin, and we both went there. Like, we were both freshmen. And his girlfriend was my suite mate with my other cousin. Like, not my... It's hard to explain. I had to explain it so many times at Lee. It's insane. So, I had so many people surrounding me. So, I realized... I was like, oh, okay, like, that'll be good. Like, that'll help me out. Well, the part I didn't really think about was that... Sorry, there's a fly in here. Was that they have their own lives, too. And that they would meet people and have friends and go hang out with them. And we wouldn't all just always be together. And that was... And I figured that out. And I kept trying to make my own friends. Like, I went to go get coffee with a few people. I met some girls in the dorm and went to go see their room and like showed them my room. I went to the hall meetings to like meet new people, whatnot. Me and my roommate were pretty close. We got pretty close. That advanced. After those first 2 weeks, which I would like to mention, I cried a lot, but like I would hide my crying and like wouldn't really show anyone. It was really late at night when I cried, like 2 a.m. And I would just cry like in my bed, like no one could hear me. It wasn't like I was boo-hooing crying, but I was like crying pretty hard. And me and Morgan probably fell asleep on the phone every night for the first 2 weeks because he also missed me. Because we had never been apart like that. So it was hard for us to like adjust to doing that. And I mean, throughout the semester, we probably fell asleep on the phone a few times, but we would mostly say goodnight because we both had roommates, so we would have to put our AirPods in. And I was scared because my bed was really high and my AirPods could fall at any moment and I would not be able to find them, probably. But anyway, we would usually say goodnight, but like I would say goodnight when I was like about to fall asleep. So I'd say goodnight and then so I could crash. I did not want to be crying alone. I don't like if I can prevent crying, I will. And I was crying a lot and I didn't understand. I was like, well, I'm trying to fit in. Like, I don't get it. So after those 2 weeks, and like when we first started getting into the semester, I noticed everybody like was making friends. And I was still trying to, and like people would let me hang out with them and stuff and like invite me to hang out. But then they wouldn't like talk to me or like text me. Or like they would have plans when I asked to hang out. It was never like I didn't find someone that was constant to hang out with. But, and like my sweet mates, like my cousins and stuff, they would want to hang out sometimes, but like they had their own life. And it wasn't like I could tag along on everything they did, you know? But we did have a really good relationship during it, and like we would run in each other's rooms and tell each other what happened that day and whatnot, and complain about classes and do homework together. So, I mean, I did have a really good relationship with them, and I miss that the most, my relationship with them, and, like, having them in my room. And my roommate, honestly. My roommate's name was Allie. She was a soccer player during my first semester. Yeah, they're called semester. Yeah. So, I mean, she's still a soccer player, but like, so she was doing soccer every day and had like practices for multiple hours. So I had the room, I was alone a lot. So she was a soccer player and I didn't really see her much, and we just didn't really get to like know each other. I mean, we would talk. It's not like we were just mute when we went in the room and stuff. But I don't really remember when we like started getting close. But I do know that like over time we did like start talking more, and she introduced me to some of her friends, like her soccer friends and whatever, but she had them to go out with when she didn't have practice. But me and her did end up having a really good relationship, and we still talk to this day. I mean, like, we Snapchat every day. She's super cool. She tells me she wants to move to Alabama. She's crazy. So, after all of that, and me and Allie getting closer and whatnot, I still didn't have a lot of friends, and everybody had like made their best friends for life and all that. And everybody was going out all the time and going on cute little photo shoots and with people, and I did hang out with people, but I was alone a lot, and I hate being alone. I was by myself for extended periods of time, like in my room, just alone. And everybody in my dorm was out. And sometimes they would leave on weekends because my cousins live in Birmingham, or close to there. So their house was only like 2 hours away. I couldn't just hop in my car and drive 6.5 hours. It was almost a day drive. I mean, not really, but kind of. Like, it took a long time to get home. So they could hop in their car and go. And I probably could have gone with them if I would have asked. But, you know, I had a job. I did end up getting a job. And that helped a lot with my, like, stress and being alone. Because I would go straight to my job. But, yeah, it was just a lot. So, I just became very depressed. And I'm not using that term like, oh, I got sad a little bit. No, I became genuinely full-on depressed. And I was always sad, and I didn't want to be there. And the moment I realized that I needed to do something about it is me and Morgan met in Birmingham because his school was coming for a football game. And we stayed in Birmingham together for a weekend. And I told him I did not want to go back to Lee, and I meant it with every, like, fiber in my body. From the top of my head to my toes. Like, I meant that I did not want to go back. And that was a scary, like, moment for me, honestly, because I was like, what do I do?
cry.
I knew that I had to do something about this because there is no way I could just leave for Christmas break and go back to that. There was no way. Like, after all the breaks I got coming home, and like I felt like I could get a deep breath, and then going back and just feeling like I was being like I was in a dark place when I was there. I wrote down what I was going to say to my mom, because my mom is the deciding factor of this, obviously, because she helps me with college. And I called my mom and I said, don't get mad and let me finish what I'm saying. And so I said it, and she told me she was fine with it, and I was shocked. I was completely and utterly shocked, because I was expecting, like, nope, you have to wait. But also, I think my mom understood the headspace I was in and how I was reacting to this happening. And so she let me leave Lee. She said, I was like, in December, I don't want to come back. And she was like, all right. So the process to get into South as I was at Lee was very stressful. Because first, when I figured out what I wanted to do, because at first I did not know I wanted to go to South. I just knew I wanted to go back and look at the colleges around there. I ended up with picking South because it just seems like the most logical and probably like the best like setup for me for the next 4 years, or 3 years now. Well, 4 years, but I haven't taken all my exams. I had to send my transcripts to South, my unofficial transcript for my first year, or for my like first semester at Lee. So they couldn't accept me though until they got all my grades. And I had to have over like a 2.5 GPA or something. I don't know. But, so I had to wait. I did not know I got into South until I think I was home for Christmas break when I figured out. So I had moved home. So I was like ready, whatever, you know, like. But then over Christmas break, I got everything together and all that. So it was just a long process. I was so nervous. I mean, I knew I was going to get in, but I kind of failed a class my first semester. It was a history. I'm not good at history at all. Probably the hardest time I had at Lee. I did not see any of them for a month. It had been more like when I went to college, a 2-week thing. Like, I saw them every 2 weeks, maybe more like 3. But because I went to college, I came back for Ava's birthday, which was 2 weeks after. I went back, and then me and Morgan met up about 2 weeks after. And then I left, and then 2 weeks after, we all went to Birmingham. And then the next weekend was Emerson's birthday. So I went a full 30 days without seeing anyone. It was really upsetting. Every day that went by just hurt. And I was upset. And I wanted to see someone I loved, because I was so like, I got myself in such a bad headspace. I wasn't working out. So it was just bad. But then Thanksgiving break came around and I went home. And between Thanksgiving break and when I got out for Christmas, there were 10 days. In those 10 days, I kind of chose to accept it and know that I wouldn't be coming back to Lee. So I kind of enjoyed myself. So after I got back home, Morgan had to deal with me having a lot of emotionally damaged issues, because I would talk myself into these things that like I wouldn't convince myself he cheated or anything, but I was scared that I wasn't good enough, which would lead him to do that. I was scared that he didn't love me and that he wouldn't love me because I was sad. And I talked myself into that, and we both kind of struggled with long distance during that time. That was the hardest thing for me. I'm not even gonna lie. Me and my mom talked every day. But me and Morgan literally called each other like multiple times a day. He's at the wrong hand.
Just use the right one.
Oh,
Don't
okay.
dap somebody up with your left hand.
Okay. All the time. We were always on the phone with each other, and that may have been a reason that I was still like, that I didn't fully let myself live at Lee and like be and like enjoy it, because I was tying myself down to Fairhope. But I don't think I would have liked it even if Morgan wasn't in my life. But Morgan is a big part of my life, so I'm not gonna say my decision had nothing to do with him. He was a big part of it too. But I am so much happier, and everybody in my, like, my parents were both like, she's just moving for Morgan, like, what? And both of my parents have sat me down and told me that I was right, and then this was the best decision for me, and that they have seen such growth and, like, change in me, that I made the right decision, practically, and that they were proud of me. And at first I was scared it was the wrong decision. I was like, did I just move somewhere for a boy? Like, did I? But after I, like, became happy again, and I didn't cry every night, and I, like, actually went out and did stuff by myself and enjoyed it. Because at Lee, it was just the normal to be by myself. I was just by myself all the time. But, like, when I went shopping by myself, I was like, wow, this is fun. And then I would go back and be able to show Morgan what I got. And I was able to enjoy being by myself when I was at South. And I wasn't able to do that at Lee because that's all there was. I did not have anyone like Morgan at Lee for me. So I'm just thankful everything worked out. And I'm so excited for my next few years at Lee. I'm scared about this, at Lee. At the South, I'm so excited for these next few years at South. I'm really scared about this coronavirus and trying to take away our fall semester, because I don't want it. You guys so much for watching. Stay living your best lives, guys. Peace.